if we woke up today, if we are in 2026, he is still writing our story. Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Melody and I make faith-based content here on YouTube. I post new videos every Monday. You heard that right. We are changing things up in 2026, which is kind of what this video is all about. But I post videos here on YouTube every Monday. So if that's something that you are interested in, definitely be sure to subscribe. I would love to have you join the family. So I don't know if you're like me at all, but my whole life I've had a plan. I remember back when I was 12 years old, talking to my mom in the car, telling her that, oh, by the time I'm 25, I'm gonna be married. And of course I'll have 2 kids and I'll live close by, because at that time, the idea of living far from my parents seemed like crazy. And then I remember when I turned 25, I was living abroad in South Korea. I had no kids, no husband, no prospects of either of these things either, no car even, no house whatsoever. But I was living a life abroad and being able to really experience so many different cultures in a way that just wasn't even on my radar at 12 years old. So what I was actually experiencing at 25 was better than what I had planned. But sometimes we can really hold on to our plans. We can force these plans to happen. And sometimes God does what only God can do and causes us to start over. And so that's what this series is all about, starting over, whether you're in your 30s like me, in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, or maybe you're starting over in your 20s. What the Lord wants to do in and through your life, he will accomplish if you submit and surrender unto him. And so in the first episode of this series, I want to indirectly bring you guys up to speed on what has been happening in my life behind the scenes. I feel like my audience over here, my community that the Lord has given me to steward on this corner of the internet, is incredibly supportive, is incredibly kind. And I feel like y'all know how to keep it cute, okay? We are not stupid. Me and you, neither of us are stupid. We are both perceptive. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know that things are changing in my life. And with that, this series is beginning. I'm excited to share more transparently with you guys, because y'all know I am good for sharing what God has done in my life and this whole process of what he's been bringing me through, because it is not over and I feel like I'm not on the other side per se, but baby, I am not where I used to be. And hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, for it. And what he has done, every tear he has captured, the rescue mission he literally put into place to get his daughter, all glory to God. And in due time, I will share that story with you to the extent that he releases me to do so. But for now, welcome to this new series, starting over in my 30s. Now, something that is really important on journeys like this when you are starting over, and I'm sure anyone who has been on the cusp of starting over or feeling like the Lord is calling them to start over, you have a lot of fears. You have a lot of fears about finances. You have a lot of fears about what people might think. You have a lot of fears about mistakes that you might have made. You have fears that the enemy uses to keep you boxed in and to keep you from making movement and following the Lord. But in these seasons, worship is a weapon. I want to go ahead and put that out there first and foremost. In my most trying times, when I didn't feel it, when I didn't have any guarantees of anything, I put on some worship music and I encouraged my heart in the Lord and in his character, not my circumstances, but in his character. But also I want to talk about the practicalities. And one of the big hurdles that we all can experience when we are starting over is finances. And this is because of just the world that we live in. This is something that we are not able to just skate around, circumvent. Our financial needs are important, and managing and stewarding what God has given us is also very important. And that's why I'm so excited to be partnering with Rocket Money on today's video. This is my first sponsor of 2026, as well as the first sponsor of this particular series. And honestly, this is very special because Rocket Money has really helped me feel more empowered in the area of managing my finances. This is something that I have notoriously kind of put in someone else's plate, kind of let someone else take over. And that's honestly because I found that gathering all the account information and seeing the picture overview and managing the transfers and the budget, I found it very overwhelming. But Rocket Money has made it so incredibly simple because you have one dashboard and they make it easy for you to connect all of your accounts. You don't have to go and see one thing and remember what it says over here and then pull up the other account, remember what it says over there. It is a one-stop shop. They also make it very easy for you to see your reoccurring charges. They're able to help you see, okay, according to the charges that have occurred in these last few months, these are the charges that you should be expecting in the coming month. In the Rocket Money app, you also have the ability to build out a particular budget to see your spending and all the different categories that you are spending money on, and really just take ownership for where every single dollar is going. And so in this season of my life of starting over, of rebuilding with the Lord, having a firm grip and a firm understanding of my finances is very, very important. Because at the end of the day, not to make finances spiritual, but honestly, everything is spiritual. God cannot bless you with more if you are not a good steward of what he has already given you. So if you're ready to join me in stepping up to the plate in terms of managing your finances better, I will have a link in the description box as well as a QR code that you can scan here. It's going to be rocketmoney.com/melody. You can get the app for free, but with my particular link, you can get premium for free as a trial. And you also get so many other features when you sign up for premium. So definitely be sure to check it out, sis. It is rocketmoney.com/melody. And thank you again so much to Rocket Money for partnering with me on today's video. And so to wrap up this first video in the new series, I thought I would share 3 lies that I used to believe about the idea of starting over and the truths that I have replaced them with the Lord's help. So number 1, the first lie that I used to believe about starting over was that starting over was an indication of failure. That, okay, if you did not, get to the point where you planned to when you started out on something, or if you had to pivot even, or if you had to navigate some sort of plot twist, that a negative connotation for me was attached to that really indicated failure, maybe a lack of foresight, a lack of planning, a lack of being able to see that thing coming. But at the end of the day, what I have learned is that God truly is the author of our story. When I go to scripture and I read about the life of Moses, let's say, and I read about the life of Abraham, and if I read about the life of David, their life did not have this singular upward trajectory. Life is ups and downs. God is the God of the hills and the valley, and he uses the valley for his glory. And so the truth that I've replaced this particular lie with is that starting over is a divine opportunity from the Lord. It is not an indication of failure. It's an indication that God is very much still with you. It's an indication that your story is not over. It's honestly become an indication to me of God's goodness, of his grace, of his mercy, of his ability to redeem, of his ability to restore. Because God is a restoring God, but something has to be decaying for him to restore it. And God is a redeeming God, but something had to have gone wrong for him to redeem it. And so these aspects of his character are only possible because of the processes of starting over, because of the processes of, the things that happen to get to the point where you're starting over, where there is the valley for him then to bring beauty from ashes. And so that's the first lie. Let's hop into number 2. So lie number 2 that I used to believe about starting over, and this one really hits close to home because of just the type of personality that I have. And it took a long time, okay, for me to really replace this lie with truth. But that is that if I try hard enough, I can control something. I can control the outcome of something. I can control the experience of something if just I try hard enough and kind of tied in with that if I am perfect enough, if I do all of the right things. And something God has truly just freed me from is this particular lie. I've talked about it here on my channel before, but I have always struggled with perfectionism. This belief that if I could just be my version of perfect, I could avoid pain, I could avoid heartbreak, I could avoid anything negative. And the problem with that is I'm a flawed human, okay? A flawed, sinful human, and I could never be perfect. So my logic is flawed from the beginning with this whole idea of perfection. But something that God really has shown me over these last few years in particular is that he is in control ultimately. And yes, he wants me to try my best. And yes, he wants me to attack things with integrity, and he wants me to genuinely try. But at the end of the day, I am not in control. I feel like this last year in particular, I've really had this revelation as I've been reading through the book of Revelation of just how powerful and in control and omnipresent and omniscient God is. Like literally right now, God is sitting on the throne in glory, and he has all of humanity, all of history is in his hands, both the past and the present and the future. He is in control of all of it. And I have really been able to experience so much freedom in that. I feel like there is a certain amount of pressure that I would put on myself because I'm feeling like, oh my God, the weight of this whole situation is on my shoulders. The weight of the outcome of X, Y, or Z is completely on my shoulders. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta but God is actually in control. And the more that I submitted and surrendered unto that, I found so much peace in not trying to carry things all by myself. Because at the end of the day, God's writing the story, not me. No matter how perfect I am, no matter how, great I approach something, no matter how great I respond to something, I'm not in control. I'm only in control of what I can do, and that's it. And God's in control of everything else. And so this particular lie that's been replaced with the truth, this one cost me something, okay? Learning this one definitely cost me something, but there's been so much freedom on the other side of that. And so this actually segues perfectly into lie number 3 that I used to believe, and that is that freedom doesn't cost anything. But the truth is that freedom is extremely costly. And that's not to say that it's not worth it, but it is extremely costly. Like getting free from something, breaking free from something, it is inherently costly. You have to give up certain things to be free. I mean, just think about coming into relationship with Christ. You have to give up the things that you used to do in your past. And that's not to say that as soon as you give a yes to Christ that you're expected to, it's a sanctification process, but you absolutely lose things to gain freedom in Christ. And the same thing goes to starting over. Starting over is costly, and not just financially. Sometimes you have to give up the narrative of what you thought your life was going to look like. Sometimes you have to give up the narrative of what other people are going to think. Sometimes you have to give up the idea that you don't want to be misunderstood and just let people misunderstand you. You have to give up the idea. You have to give up a lot. Give up control. Give up appearances. Give up holding on to things that are actually harming you. Give up insert X, Y, or Z. And so freedom is costly. It doesn't come at no expense, but it is so incredibly worth the cost. I mean, Christ came and gave up his life to give us freedom. And so I think that right there shows us that freedom absolutely has a price. So these are the 3 lies that I personally used to believe about starting over, and the truths that I have replaced them with. And that really brings it to the end of today's video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm excited to see what God has in store for 2026, not just in my life, but in all of our lives, because he is very much not finished with us yet. If we woke up today, if we are in 2026, he is still writing our story, and he still has beautiful things in store for us. And I think the more that we just lean into him, hide in him, submit to him, surrender to his will, the more glory he is going to get out of our lives. So I'm excited to see what is in store. So thank you once again to Rocket Money for partnering with me on today's video. And again, I will have that link in the description box, rocketmoney.com/melody, for you to sign up and get your free premium trial. Now, of course, it is your turn. So in the comments below, I would love to know, what is one lie that you used to believe about starting over? Let us know in the comments, and also let us know the truth that God has helped you replace that lie with. All right, my friends, I love you so much, and I will catch you in my next video next Monday. Peace.